If we're going to have an economy that's just and equitable, that really includes the assets and the talents that everybody has to offer, we need to do things differently, and I think I'm the candidate to do that.
Well, that's Rhode Island's Secretary of State Nellie Gorbea. She's with me this morning. She wants to be the governor. Well, last time we had you, that was beautiful weather out there, Madam Secretary.
It was. But I'm glad to be in-house here with you and all the staff.
You're one of our rare in-house guests since we were getting over the pandemic. Hey, speaking of the pandemic, how do you think Governor Raimondo and Governor McKee are doing with that?
You know, I think that in many ways, Governor Raimondo did a really Herculean job, particularly in the context that we had a federal government that honestly kind of left the states to do it on their own. So I do think that she did an amazing job. And then the Biden administration came in, and thank goodness for that, because it kind of normalized and federalized a lot of assistance. And I think that's how, you know, thanks to the good men and women in our troops and the National Guard and a lot of the people in our Department of Health, we were able to get a lot of people vaccinated.
Do you want to give Governor McKee any credit? He said, I'm getting more people vaccinated and things are running just smoothly under me.
Well, I think that he has to also acknowledge the fact that there was a good infrastructure that was left by Governor Raimondo, as well as the federal government really stepped in to make sure that the vaccines were available.
Should we acknowledge that President Trump was the one who developed the vaccines and pushed for that? He didn't do the science, but he got the money going. He certainly got them fast.
Certainly we had, yes, and I think that the federal government actually did a lot in other areas as well.
Okay, let's move. We just did a rundown of all the issues this week alone. Let's get to the budget. So it seems to me the House wants to spend almost $2 billion more than the governor asked for. Is that wise? You
know, it's a time at which our economy is coming out of a really difficult stage, and that is exactly when you want to invest. And so it's about spending, but also how effectively it's used. And so we'll have to see. Now the governor gets to prove that he can do that effectively.
I remember I had the Senate President Ruggiero on a couple of shows ago, and they said, well, we want to sock away some of it. Should we be socking away more of it so that we could avoid cuts the next time around?
We can absolutely. And I think that there's a balancing act here in terms of making sure that you don't go out and spend it all without a lot of thought processes. But yeah, so we should save some of it. But I do believe that making a major investment in our economy right now is a good thing to do.
So you're good with Speaker Shekarchi's stewardship of this?
Yes.
And the 13.1 that this accounts for. All right, Governor McKee wants to tax the PPP money. Now there's a compromise. He said, okay, now it's anything over $250,000, and only if your company profited would you pay the tax on the PPP money. As far as I know, we're still the first state to do that, go after that PPP money, which was essentially a forgiven loan. Is he right to do that?
Yeah, I didn't like Governor McKee going forward with that proposal, in part because I honestly think that it just wasn't fair. You need to tell people ahead of time what's going on and what you're going to do. And I think communication of government is what's really key for people to trust government. So it's not something that I would have gone with. I think that Speaker Shekarchi did a good job of tempering it somewhat, but it wasn't where I would have gone.
All right, so you can't really criticize Governor McKee and then say, well, Shekarchi's okay with it, because they both signed off on it.
No, I know, but there was a give and take to sort of make it, sort of a little bit fair.
So if you're governor, you wouldn't go with that?
It wouldn't have been a move that I would have gone with, no.
Okay. No action on legalizing marijuana. Why not? Look at us. We're the sourdough in the middle. Connecticut, yes. Massachusetts, yes. You could drive from Boston all the way to Washington now, pretty much, without us.
It's a tough issue, and I think we need to make sure that we get it right, and one in which, I think that in addition to looking at what other states are doing, we have to see the consequences, right? I think that the proposals to make sure that there's equity in terms of the people who have been convicted of marijuana-related crimes is something that absolutely has to be included. You can't make it open for everybody now and then have people in jail or suffering the consequences.
Well, that's something we could deal with. But the larger issue, do you support legalizing recreational marijuana in Rhode Island? Because it comes with problems too.
Yeah, I know. At this point, I think, given how far it's been developed, as a mom, am I concerned about the legalization of marijuana recreationally? Absolutely. So it's not one where I'm going to rush forward and say like, oh yeah, let's run through, and not look at the experiences that other states are having.
It seems to me that that'll be done before you are sworn in. Should you prevail, that's going to be a done issue. Do you support continuing with the car tax phase out? That was Speaker Mattiello's baby. Nobody likes it, and there's money to continue with that.
No, again, I think that continuing to phase it out is a good thing. It's a pretty regressive kind of measure. So I do believe that we need to be looking at how do we use the existing monies more effectively. And that's what I've done is at the Department of State. People love my office. I get business owners that say that they love my office, the website, the people. And I say, you know, same state employees that you had, 10, 15, 20, 30-year employees, but they now are working under different leadership that says you have to be working for the people.
I understand you have grocery clerks chasing you down saying they love your office.
Actually, it has happened.
Now, you took a little ribbing on that, because I do the radio in the morning, too, and said, well, come on. Grocery clerks chasing Nellie down saying, I like your website for small business, and I like what you did with voting, and you really should run for governor. Did some consultant give you that idea?
Nope. It actually happens to me.
Where did it happen?
With regular employees at the market near my house. I don't want to, I have to talk to the corporate owner. I don't want to get anybody in trouble because they're talking politics on the job. But it really, it happens to me, and it's one of the things that I'm excited about my candidacy. I have people every single day, regular Rhode Islanders, saying they love the work we're doing at the Department of State, and they're excited about me becoming governor and doing it on a larger landscape.
Okay. Coming from the Secretary of State's office, I mean, is there a lot to run on? Because it's kind of an office that most Rhode Islanders don't really pay attention to. Most Rhode Islanders don't have corporations legalized, and most Rhode Islanders go to the polls and they don't think about you; they think about voting. So go ahead. I know you have to sell yourself as the Secretary of State, but how do you spin that?
I would actually say quite the contrary. That a lot of people have told me, "Wow, I didn't know that the Secretary of State did so many things." I mean, just today we're opening exhibits at the State Archives from 10 to 2 p.m. You can go to the State Archives, Fridays at the Archives, and you can see, really important pieces of Rhode Island history. So if anybody wants to take their kids or is just interested in it, they can do that. We've done things like make it easier for businesses to start and thrive, reduce the number of forms that we had to fill out for businesses. All sorts of things that really make a difference in people's lives. And this past election, come on, that didn't just happen. That was a lot of hard work. Every single year that I was Secretary of State, working with the State Board of Elections and the local boards of canvassers to make sure that by the time that we got to the 2020 election and the pandemic, people could vote safely and securely. Okay,
some people might say, well, transformed, I think Secretary of State then Langevin, he was the one who brought the electronic voting machines. And the cleanup of the voter rolls, that's still continuing under your watch, right?
That has greatly improved under my watch, actually. We've been doing that every single year, very systematically, very methodically. And it's what's going to make the difference in terms of having the cleanest voter rolls, possible.
But do you want credit for transforming the Secretary of State's office?
Absolutely. And I think that's, and it's not just what I want, it's what regular Rhode Islanders tell me on the street.
All right, I'm going to save everything with the school takeover, the state takeover of the Providence schools. Let's do that next segment because we got a lot to talk about there. But let's work our way through some state agencies. Buda, the hospitals, the state hospitals, a mess. DCYF, a mess. Let's continue.
Yeah, no, it is. It's been really, really challenging. And I guess, to me, it speaks to needing leadership that will come in and reinvent government. That where you're taking, looking at what the agency employees are telling you, what the clients, what the customers are telling you, and from there crafting it. You don't need outside consultants to tell you a lot of these things.
Was the state hospital crisis, is that a failure of the Raimondo administration? I can't pin that on Governor McKee.
I don't. Here 6 months. I think that it's a long, like many issues in public policy. It's not just one administration. It's been a long-standing problem.
I would think Raimondo had plenty of time to fix that. And certainly with DCYF, too. That's another mess. That thing hasn't been fixed since I came to Rhode Island 30 years ago.
Again,
will you fix it?
I will absolutely improve the way government is running in all of the different agencies. It's what my background is. My background is in public policy, public administration.
What kind of Democrat are you? Are you a progressive Democrat? Because you have some people very far to the left in your party.
I am a Democrat that believes that government should work for people, and I'm pragmatic, and I like bringing in people from all sorts of backgrounds together to help craft a solution. That's, the best solutions are when you have a diversity of perspectives, backgrounds, and ideas around the policymaking table. It takes a little bit longer. People are not, it's not this big happy moment. But the solutions that come out are much stronger and better for the people in the long term.
You may be running against Jorge Alorza, Treasurer Magaziner. Certainly, Governor McKee wants another shot at it. Any other names out there I haven't heard about that you may know?
No, I don't know of any others, actually.
No, so there's nobody floating in the round. Oh, I heard this person? No. Nothing like that. No. All right. So are you a progressive?
You know,
I said
do I believe
pragmatic
that,
is not, we don't put the PR.
So I know. So what is progressive, right? I hate labels. You know, do I believe that government can be better than what it is now? Absolutely. Can it be in a, you know, and does that change mean that you're progressive? I don't know. But I do believe that we can do a lot more to make sure that government is working for regular Rhode Islanders.
Okay, so you're not far left. Would you call yourself a centrist?
So it depends. If you're on one extreme or the other, I don't. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
If you're for defunding the police, you're far left. If you're not, you're going to be a centrist Democrat. You're not for defunding the police.
No, I hate that term, actually.
Right. So the people who are would be far left. So now we know where the marker is. So are you?
But I believe in bringing together people to make sure that, you know, in this case, it would be the state police because municipal police are under municipal control.
Right.
But that we have the kind of resources and support services to the state police that enables them to do the best job that they can.
Okay. Let's hold it there. And we're going to talk about the takeover of the Providence schools, plus a little bit of the hospital merger. And let's talk a little more about policing, because that would be on the governor's plate, should you prevail. Nellie Gorbea.
She's in campaign mode. I don't want to be in campaign mode. I want to be working for the people in the state of Rhode Island right now and putting that effort in.
Look at that, Madam Secretary. That's why you're with me. You're in campaign mode. That's what the governor said.
Yeah. Well,
that wasn't nice.
No, it is what it is.
You swore him in, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead, respond to that. He says you're in campaign mode. You're very early.
I am. I believe in being honest with people. And I think that raising money without being forthright about the fact that if you're term limited, what are you raising money for? I think you have to be honest with people and say, yeah, no, I am. I actually think I can do a better job than the other people that are being floated.
Yeah.
So let's go forward.
Do you think you're at a disadvantage? Because Treasurer Magazine, he's got a ton of money, we understand. And if McKee keeps the lid on things for 2 years, he's going to have an advantage that he kept the peace. And you're trying to run and catch up. Is that why you got in so early? You got to make up the money and you got to make it the ground?
No, it's really about being honest with people about what are your intentions.
Okay.
You know, I think I proved in 2014 that you don't need to have the most money to win. You know, it's you just have to be true and be fair with the Rhode Island voter.
Okay, let's work our way through the punch list, so to speak, of things. Would you continue with the truck tolls? Do you think that's a good idea?
I think they're here, and we need to continue with them.
You're not taking them down.
No.
We've already said you're for legalized marijuana. What about the Superman building in Providence? You know, I know it's a city issue, but nonetheless, you have to look at it every day from your office should you prevail. And that thing is kind of the center of Rhode Island, I guess, really. And look at it. Look at it.
I know.
What do we do with it?
I don't know. I mean, I think that we need to, you know, continue to work at it. I know that there's a lot. I look forward to having conversations with the community about, you know, how to best do that.
Yeah.
You know, but also be fair to the fact that, you know, certain corporate interests took a venture that didn't work out for them.
Do you have any ideas? Maybe stick all the state offices in there, I heard, consolidate? Yeah. No, nothing like that. How about Kennedy Plaza? It's an eyesore with the buses in the middle.
I think that's really, you know, for the next mayor of Providence, it'll be interesting to see how that works out. I see the state, you know, being able to support the city. It's a capital city. We have to make sure that we invest in infrastructure as we do across the state, and be fair about that.
You know, once a month I do Ask the Registry on my radio program. And once a week I do Ask the DOT. And I usually preface it saying, if you pay your taxes and you behave in Rhode Island, all you're really interested in is the registry and the roads. Would you be a fill the pothole kind of a governor? Collect the trash, fill the pothole, and get what people who behave really want? I
think that people want a government that works for them. And I think one of the challenges that we've seen across the years and the time that I've been here is that people don't feel that they're going to get a fair shake out of government. When they come to my office now at the Department of State, it's a completely different experience. So I do want to work with our state government, with our state employees, with our, you know, Rhode Islanders to reconfigure the way government is working. I mean, even the agencies that you just mentioned, right? Buddha, DCY, like if we started a government from scratch, you and me, would that be how we would organize them? Maybe, maybe not.
I'd be a benevolent dictator.
Yeah.
They say that's the best form of government.
No, it's not.
No, you don't think so?
No. Democracy is always better.
Okay. Would you provide driver's licenses for illegal immigrants?
I know.
Issue.
Yeah, I know. And I think I'm glad to see that the legislature is finally tackling that issue. Yes, driver's licenses are not a citizenship document. They're a measure of how, whether or not you know how to, transit on our highways and byways.
But it's also a divisive social issue, because some people say you broke the law to get in here, you don't belong here, and we certainly shouldn't reward you with a driver's license. A driver's license is a privilege.
Well, I don't know. I don't think of it as a privilege. It's actually something that proves that you know how to drive on the roads.
But it is considered a privilege, and even by Rhode Island. So you'll be okay with that?
I'd be fine.
Well, let's talk about that, because that often comes with the Latino spectrum of issues. Now, you're a Latina, and I looked at 17%, last time I checked, 17% of the state is Latino. But of course, that includes young children and people who can't vote. What is all this attention to Latinos? Tell me, bring me up, inform me. Are you going to be the one with Gene? We're taking over, and we are the ones you must cater to, because it seems that Governor McKee is very interested in that. He has Sabina Matos everywhere he goes with her. So let's talk about it.
No, I think what it shows is, the question is, had I not put my name forward, had I not been spoken to, would any of these issues be talked about? I don't know. The Latino community, just like the Italian American community, the Irish Americans, the Portuguese, the Cape Verdeans, Azorians, all of these ethnic communities have had their moment in Rhode Island history. It's one of the things I love about Rhode Island. When I go to the Feast of St. Mary in Cranston, I'm transported to my childhood. It's the same sort of community, cultural kind of markers. And it's one of the things that I love about, this state. So, we need to work to the benefit of all communities. It really is really important.
Just a footnote before I'm going to continue this, but you mentioned the Italian community. Would you march in the Columbus Day Parade?
I have in the past.
You would again? Because Columbus has become a little bit of a hot potato.
I know, and it's really unfortunate. I think that in this country we do need to come to terms with some of the racial and gender issues that people are raising, and we can't be afraid of them, and we need to be sensitive to having tough conversations about it.
But if there's a Columbus Day parade and you're invited, you would walk on.
I have in the past.
Okay, let's get back to this Latino. It's become a very, very hot issue, and clearly Governor McKee has got Sabina Matos wherever she goes, and she's a Latina, and Jorge Holoza may come in, and you're a Puerto Rican native. So go ahead, speak to that. Are you going to go after that and say I'm the real Latina in the race?
No. Why would I? Well, why do I have to define that?
Let me rephrase it.
So do you have Italian? Wait a minute. Do Italian politicians come and say like I'm the Italian guy?
Yes, they used to. Yes, they did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, they did. That's no secret. They played to that. But let me rephrase the question to be fair. We're paying a lot of attention to Latinos and Latinas, and I have two who are running, and I've got clearly Governor McKee is paying a lot of attention to Sabina Matos. So there's something going on with the Latino population as far as their influence in this race is going. I just want you to address that.
Yeah, no, I know. They're 17% of the population, like you said, of the state. And I see them, you can see my track record in that community. I've been a leader, yes, in the Latino community, but I've also been on the board of nonprofits like, United Way or the Women's Fund of Rhode Island. I've also been active in women's issues. So I just see it as one more part of who I am. Okay. And you have to be true to yourself if you're going to run for office. I think those are the best elected officials, those who are true to who they are.
Okay, we have 2 minutes. Let's talk about the state takeover of the Providence schools. Would you support invoking the Crowley Act to give the teachers a contract and end the mediation? Here, take this and live with it.
That situation right now, as we speak, under negotiation, and I don't believe that we should be talking about it until they're done with those negotiations.
No. Well, that's too easy.
I know.
Jorge Holoza says, give it to them. Governor McKee says, well, no, let's mediate. Now, you want to run, and that's going to be your baby. Would you support just giving them the Crowley Act?
I believe that education is absolutely one of the #1 issues facing the state. And it's, yes, about Providence Public Schools, but it's about North Kingstown, it's about Narragansett. We have to be able to deliver a quality educational system, no matter where you are, quality education, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
But this confrontational approach is not good. We need to be able to, kind of like what I've done at the Department of State with the state archives. I didn't impose like, oh, we should have a mandated civics curriculum. I said, teachers, what do you guys need? Like, let me know, and I will provide that for you. And that's the kind of leadership that I think our state needs.
You're taking a pass on that because you're not giving me an answer. The governor says continuing mediation. Jorge Aloisa says give him the Crowley Act. And you don't want to go either way? I only have a minute left.
Those are two people who are actually in those seats to make those decisions. I believe that that is a tinderbox right now, and that the responsible thing to do is to let those players act on it in the way that they need to. But education, Gene, is absolutely key, as is housing, as is global climate change. Those are the issues that all are leading into a local economy, and we need to have a different way of doing things, and I believe that I'm the candidate that can do that.
Okay, so I'm going to put that down. With you're good with continuing mediation. I have to hold it there. That appears to be a fair assessment. You're good with continuing what we're doing. I've got to hold it there, but thank you for coming in. Let's save something for the next time.
Okay.
Secretary of State Nellie Gorbea.